Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BioNexus Health podcast series. Today, we will be traveling all the way to North Carolina, United States, to speak with Kate. Kate is in the process of becoming a naturopathic physician herself. Although her academic aspirations were pretty seriously derailed due to severe chronic illness, including but not limited to Lyme, other tick-borne infections, mold exposure, biotoxin illness, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, gut issues, and much more. Kate and her partner, Tammy, have had a remarkable journey back to health and wellness using only completely all-natural plant-based herbal medicine and supplements. Please help me welcome Kate to today's show. And actually, before we do that, I have a request. I would like to request you to remember to subscribe. It's the big red button to the bottom right. It helps us spread the message far and wide. And that's the whole purpose of this podcast, isn't it? To spread the message of hope and healing to as many people as we can. So do also remember to share the podcast if you know someone who would benefit. All right, so now without further ado, please help me welcome Kate to today's podcast.
Welcome to the BioNexus Health podcast with Dr. Jodie Dashore, who holds a Ph.D. in Integrative Medicine, is board certified in Integrative Pediatrics, an internationally recognized pioneering clinician, and author. And now here's your host of BioNexus Health podcast, Dr. Jodie Dashore.
Good morning, Kate. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay.
I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you so much for joining me to share your absolutely remarkable journey to wellness.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So right off the bat, I'd like to ask you, you're in the process of becoming a naturopathic practitioner yourself. So could you tell me a little bit about your health issues and what brought you to BioNexus Health?
Okay. So in 2002, I had a closed head injury when an automobile crossed the center line. What happened after that was the need to rehabilitate my brain. I had to learn how to read again, how to socialize, all that kind of thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on, wait. So you had to learn to read again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so yeah. It was a major trauma.
Yeah. They called it a mild to moderate, but I had lost a lot of functioning and even socializing. I was so nervous and, I couldn't process all the information that was coming in. It was coming in so quickly. And then I had chronic migraines and what they call occipital neuralgia, just pain in the neck and occipital area, like chronic, and then in a chronic fatigue where I just could sleep almost all the time. And so I've spent the last, 20 years trying to recover from that and have made progress with a lot of different things, surgeries, energy work, hyperbaric oxygen chambers, all that kind of thing. And haven't been able to get to the root and to really, I think, make substantial gains until now. And that's the help of understanding what biotoxins do, what Lyme does in the body, and what chronic fatigue is. So thank you very much, because in the last 8 months, I've made incredible progress. I may cry because it's significant. So my family and friends say, wow, I feel like I'm sitting before somebody new. Like what's happened? Like somebody turned the lights on for you. And that's exactly how it feels. The interesting thing was, so I started the protocol 8 months ago. Within the first 2 days, I had so much more energy. My mood was happier. I just felt like, okay, I'm alive again. And then within 2 weeks, just incredible amounts of energy that stayed with me. So before that, it was on average, I had probably 2 hours of energy. Sometimes I would have 4 hours. And then my brain would be so tired. I could take a nap and wake up and my brain still wouldn't go, but my body had more energy. Now what happens is, I'll wake up, I have probably 4 hours of energy. I can feel my brain is tired. So I'll take a nap if I need to. And then I still can go for another 4 hours, sometimes even longer with my brain. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have your brain working, you're kind of just going through the motions of the day. So my energy level has increased. And even if I don't have to focus on something and have my brain be really sharp, I still can participate in activities with my family or doing things that I need to do. And it's felt wonderful, because something about having chronic fatigue is you always feel like you're behind on everything. There's always all these things you didn't do. And now it's another day of not being able to do things. You kind of put that pressure on yourself because you have responsibilities. And so what's happened in the last 8 months is the ability to catch up with that and then feel like, wow, I can plan for my future, and I can do more now. And that's exciting. So you asked about becoming a naturopath.
Yes.
I started in 2014 on a PhD in natural medicine. And the reason was because I wanted to I wanted to learn more so I could help myself to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many different types of practitioners and different types of, medicine and things you can do. And I feel like I've tried every one. And so I was wanting to know what was at the root of my healing. And so that's why I entered the program to try to figure that out. So now it's 8 years later, and I am writing my dissertation. I had to put it on a long pause because I could only do a little bit at a time.
But you are okay. Sorry, I wasn't aware that you had gotten back to your dissertation. That is wonderful to hear. And I can. Your enthusiasm and wellness, and you mentioned your energy levels have improved. That is very infectious, because I was, in the beginning, I remember seeing you, and I was greatly saddened that not only another human being and another practitioner, a colleague, was going through something very similar to what I had been through, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, Lyme disease,
Mm-hmm.
biotoxin illness. And it's been such a blessing and a privilege to be able to help you and your family through this, and I know that it will be paid forward many, many times with you helping so many other people as you get better and better. How did you hear about BioNexus Health?
I was listening to a podcast from the Better Health guy, and you were on it, and I thought, okay, she understands the ins and outs of it and how to put it all together. And I knew that you would be able to help me at that point.
Wonderful.
I was just trying to study everything I could to try to figure out what is going to work, what isn't. So
yeah. That is so true. What you say is being able to resonate with the practitioner, as well as, what many people tell me is it really matters if the practitioner has been through what they are dealing with herself, and as I've been through it myself and with my child as well. And yes, I can certainly relate to people telling you it's all in your head, that you're just being a little lazy, you need to put a little bit more oomph into it, and what also was interesting about your journey was the near fatal car crash. I had a near fatal car accident myself. This was in 2007, and everything just, I always say, the sky fell on my head. That's what happened. However, it was a pretty severe head injury and a full flare-up, complete relapse with Lyme and co-infections. And I think I was kept alive, considering the seriousness of the accident. I think it was for my son. I had just dropped off my little one in pre-kindergarten school, right, nursery school, and I was on my way back home to get ready for work, and this is what happened. Bang, head on at 45 miles an hour. So that's where your journey took me back to that. But and I remember then, being diagnosed with all strange autoimmune illnesses, being recommended all these massive immune suppressants and heavy duty pharmaceuticals. And I'm so glad that we did everything plant-based, herbal medicine. And so can you elaborate a little bit on that? You have a lot of faith in herbal medicine. You've tried pharmaceuticals, I believe it did not help you a whole lot. And then you actually turned to herbal medicine, like you said, for the last 8 months with BioNexus and myself. And it's just been such a joy to hear about your improvements. So can you elaborate a little bit, about herbal medicine?
Yeah, I think simply put, the pharmaceuticals that I were on, that I was on, would help with the pain management, but not with any, not with my body recovering. And I could feel that there was a point where I wasn't feeling I was thriving. And there were several points. One of the points was before I saw you with the herbal medicine. Made me feel like I was thriving, like I had the nutrition and the energy, and actually the life force energy that I needed. That's how I would say it. And then obviously my body responded very quickly, but I felt alive again with it. There's you can feel like the frequencies, the love, the energy, the way even the way yours is cultivated biodynamically. You could actually feel that. And the other 2 people that I know that are on your protocol, my family members, same thing. There's a real response and a receptiveness and a real, like a life force energy now running through them that wasn't present before. Yeah.
Wow. You just gave me goosebumps. And well, that is so eloquently put that.
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah. Biodynamically cultivated, which is what gravitated me towards biodynamic agriculture in the beginning, was just exactly what you said. It is vibrationally very strong frequencies, very strong healing frequencies in there. And BioNexus Farm and Apothecary, it's like literally 10 minutes apart. So we have this very unique farm to apothecary medicine making scenario. And it's just absolutely, I'm really looking forward to spring. And, we've already started the seedlings and what have you, but getting my hands dirty back again, at the farm. I'm really excited. Yeah, with my crew, we get lots of interns and students every year from the local universities who want to learn. We have, last year we had 16 beehives as well. We may expand this year. Let's see how it goes, because we had some damage from the major flooding which was caused by Hurricane Ida, but we're more or less back on track now. So that's something exciting. Speaking of exciting and springtime and new beginnings, would you mind speaking a little bit about your journey to wellness has been? Like both of you have been through a lot in life, and I think both of you recovering now is so well deserved.
Interestingly, so I never feel anything with my gut. No problems, that I know of, or that I feel, which is kind of interesting. The only thing has been almost a constant constipation, which we know is an issue. But it's been a challenge to figure out, the gut is involved because I never have any distress. You know what I'm saying? So that's been one interesting part of the journey. The other part is the head pain. So the head pain has gotten easier to treat as well. One big gift about the herbals is that I'm able to, and I don't know why this is, I can now feel when I'm full and when I'm not full. I can feel the difference. It's not feeling the difference. I can tell which foods are causing a problem and which ones are not. And I have not been able to do that for 19 years before this. They were saying, keep a journal, keep a log of food and whatever. I could not figure out which even categories were causing a problem, because it seemed like everything caused a problem. And now what I'm have determined is there are several categories, which are the typical inflammatories, but there's certain foods that just trigger something. Even on a sensitivity test, if I don't test sensitive, they still cause an issue for me. So that's been a gift in this last 8 months, is to be able to figure that out. And that's taken a lot of the inflammation down, and a lot of what felt like neuropathy. I say neuropathy might not be the right word. Maybe it's an inflammation, in the joints, and more of a myalgia kind of thing that has almost gone away. So there's lots of relief on my body, lots of it feels like a pressure change in my body too.
Right. So your body doesn't feel ill. It feels like you're on your way to healing right now.
Yeah, it feels like it's thriving. Like it's got a lot of life force, and that life force will carry it into being really well. But it feels like also, Dr. Dashore, it feels like I'm in my body and enjoying it. And that has been, that's been part of the journey, is not wanting to be in a body that has so much pain. So, but I feel like I'm occupying my body now, joyfully occupying it and wanting to. So,
Kate, I think many will identify with what you said, not wanting to be in a body that has so much pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love that you said that, you are able to enjoy life, enjoy your body, being in your body now. And my goodness, what a privilege to have been able to, help you in this way. I had briefly mentioned your partner, Tammy, and would you, she's having a really good recovery herself, right? She's on her way. Would you mind sharing Tammy's story a little bit?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, she's made remarkable progress. In 2016, she was hospitalized for something, and they couldn't figure out what it was. She was vomiting and had a fever and like a bloody diarrhea, that kind of thing.
Goodness. Right.
And so we went into urgent care, and they took her immediately into the hospital, where she stayed for 6 days, and they tested her for everything they could think of, thinking that she had probably been out of the country and got into some kind of, I don't know, what would that be? Some kind of an infection or something that was maybe not local to us.
Right,
yes.
Right, parasite. Right.
Yeah, they couldn't find anything. What they treated her for was like a fungal infection, or systemic fungal infection.
And had she been abroad, for them to think parasitic infection?
No, she didn't.
She hadn't. Okay.
No, what they found was she had an inflamed colon, but they said it's not really Crohn's, it's not really ulcerative colitis, it's kind of a mixture of the two. We're unclear about what it is. And so they said, well, we think that we want you to go on a pharmaceutical that will help that, right? That will suppress the immune system. What I love about her is she said, no, I feel like my diet and my lifestyle can take care of this. I just need to know what it is, and then I need to know how to proceed. What can I do? And they said, we never treat it with food and lifestyle. And we don't treat it that way. It's only the pharmaceuticals. So then she started to treat it through diet and through other natural means, and it got much better. And then we met you, and she started the herbal protocol, and within 6 weeks, she said, I think I'm so much better already. And what was better was on her, she had what you'd call psoriasis. She had large blotches on her skin, which were probably an average of 2 inches by 2 inches, let's say, marks on her all over her body.
Right.
lots under her, on her chest, even on her legs, everything like that. And she said, I know it looks bad. She says, but it feels terrible. She says, anytime water gets on it, it stings. Anytime, clothing touches it, it stings. And even in the middle of summer, it was like she wanted to wear pants and long sleeves, and yet it's too hot, and she says, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm not sure what to do. And that's when I saw you right after that on that video. And I said, okay, you could help her with that too. The other thing was that her feet on the bottoms, both of them were split open, like I'm talking inches like this, just all across the length of the foot. Those have now healed, and she's found a connection between corn and those being split, which was really difficult to figure out. So she's been able to modify her diet, and that's helped quite a bit. But finally, those are not sore, and she can, walk on them and have regular shoes on and things. That was an interesting thing. There was one other thing, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
So Kate, all of Tammy's psoriatic patches on her body have healed right now.
They've healed. She's got,
Amazing.
Even the sensitivity, like almost like after they'd healed, they'd still be sensitive, those areas, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even to touch, but yes, that's a really big deal. So, and with that is a lot of anxiety has calmed down too. And I think that anxiety is, if you have all that feeling all the time, I think your adrenals would just be, revved up all the time, and then it would feel like you're anxious. And, so that there's a calming that has happened now after that, after 6 weeks. And obviously we've been on the protocol longer than that. There's been other healing that's occurred too with her brain. I know that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
You were able to help us discover that there were at least 16 environmental toxins that were at a super high level for her, because of the nature of her work with a lot of chemicals and things like that. So just working on those and the last, 8 months, and having those really slowly be kind of chelated out of her body has helped her brain to be, it seems, lighter, work better. She's clearer. She's more philosophical. And I said that at our last call at times, which shows the ability to really, to really deeply think. So there's a change in her brain and her ability to process things and just be relaxed that we're really enjoying. And I'm sure she's enjoying. So a clearer brain.
Wonderful. I spoke to Tammy recently, as you know, and yes, it was, it was very heartening to see the smiles, to see that the anxiety, has more or less resolved. And both of you are on your way to, claiming the perfect health that is your, as human beings, as being humans, as part of this universe, right? That is your right to claim perfect health. Most of us just need proper guidance to be able to achieve that. All of our bodies are able to achieve good health. And, I say perfect health, metaphorically speaking, of course, spiritually speaking. And speaking of spiritually, I wonder if you've noticed any enhancement in your spiritual faculties as well. I know I had, especially once we move past the cyst busting of Lyme disease, once we move beyond the autoinflammatory processes that are involved with your innate immune system in biotoxin illness. Those of us who are on a spiritual path, that seems to become kind of less foggy, clearer, stronger. That's how I felt. How about you?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I have the same experience.
Cool.
And it shows for me a lot in my dreaming. My dreams stopped being frustrating and congested. It was always about congestion, lots of people, lots of things in my way, in my room touching me in my dreams, and it hurt, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Now they're very clear. I'm having conversations, I'm having experiences, a lot of experiences where I'm lounging and I'm watching the light. Super interesting that you mentioned that. So my dream time very much clearer. My intuition in in daily life very clear. I can tell that, like, when I'm hanging around with my dog, just my intuition, knowing what she might need, what she's maybe asking for. So there's a lot of that clarity. There's a real joy and a real I think a real tenderness has come back for me, like a real just a love for the earth, a love for people and the animals, and I feel like my heart is better connected now, because it can be connected again, let's say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Your heart feels connected. It feels
Yes.
open to receiving
absolutely
fresh programming,
yes
fresh frequencies from the universe, and of course, everything that Mother Nature has to offer in her abundance.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I know
so
we're always connected. I feel I can feel it now. Like, I feel alive with it now. Yeah.
That is so very cool. The way you explained it. Very cool. Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
That is something, the joie de vivre that you're experiencing is such a blessed gift, such a blessed feeling as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it is.
I'm right there with you, girl. I'm telling you. I just love it. Wonderful. So, both of you, and your other family members that I'm seeing as well, are definitely on your way to health and wellness. We do have a few other obstacles that we need to overcome, but the magic of herbal medicine is that whatever the gains are, they stay with you. It's not that whatever gains you've already achieved, those are going to go anywhere, as we address, some of the other issues that come with the kind of issues that you've had to deal with, right? The mold, the Lyme.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I look forward to perhaps in the future, sitting down with you again and having a deep dive into the awakening process, into, right? Once we have dealt with our chronic issues, once we've seen our family get better as well, and the openness, the freedom that comes with that, to be able to explore, our own spirituality, to be able to explore our own purpose in life, to be able to find ourselves, and like you said, connect with like-minded souls and people. So I'm, hopefully one day we can have that conversation.
I would be honored. I would love that. Yeah.
Awesome. This has been so awesome. So on that note, what would you summarize or say to those watching about your transition from heavy-duty pharmaceuticals to completely natural herbal medicine? Is there any kind of advice, any kind of information that you could summarize for those watching and hoping to explore naturopathic medicine?
Yeah, I would say that the pharmaceutical meds are very helpful for short-term emergencies. Obviously, with a migraine or migraines that are ongoing, they're a lifesaver.
Yes.
And you can even use those with the herbals, but the herbals heal on every different level of our being, on our spiritual being, on our mental, on our emotional, on our physical. The pharmaceuticals will never do that. the herbals like enliven us in so many ways that you almost don't know how you've gotten your life back until you have it back, and then you're able to start saying, oh wow, I feel more alive in this way, this way, this way. So I hope I'm explaining right. It's every level of our being that they refuel us and they re-energize us, and I can feel that happening, and could feel it on day 2. So I'm a huge fan. Yeah, it connects us to life.
Thank you so very much. Yes,
Yeah.
it does indeed. Yes, I the most alive I feel. I still take my daily herbal cocktails to keep me going, and it's just it's just maintenance doses, keeps me. Yeah, it just allows me to connect with my best health and wellness in years.
That's a great way to say it. Yeah. Yep.
So I know that, my health and wellness is here to stay. So I may, continue to do and achieve my life's purpose, which is helping, and it is a calling. It's not, I was going to say almost, no, it's not almost like a calling. It's pretty obviously, with thousands around the world, it is a calling, and it's such an honor and privilege. I meet amazing people, amazing women like yourself. I've had the blessed good fortune of connecting with many young mothers of children with chronic illness, and having the unique opportunity of mentoring and even nurturing those young moms, so they are they're able to fulfill their dreams of having other children without having that anxiety of that, oh, is my next child also going to be special needs and what have you. So overall, amazing. I look forward to seeing you next time, and thank you. I'm very grateful. Thank you so very much for being here today and sharing your remarkable journey.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom and your help and for your heart.
Absolutely. Okay, well, so that brings us to the end of today's podcast. I'm so glad Kate was able to join us, and I'm also glad that you were able to join me today to listen to Kate's wonderful story of recovery. So heartwarming, so genuine. And I'm so glad that she and her family members are on their way to good health. So I shall end here. Thank you again for joining me today. Be well. Namaste.
Thank you for joining Master Herbalist Dr. Jodie Dashore, Director of the BioNexus Health Clinic and BioNexus Herbals, on the BioNexus Health podcast, where we explore and share information and stories about recovering and healing from chronic and environmental illnesses such as mold biotoxin illness, Lyme disease, autism spectrum disorder, fatigue, Crohn's and colitis, mast cell activation syndrome, PANDAS, and more. Please help us grow our message by subscribing to our podcast channel and sharing the podcast on your social networks. For more information, visit bionexushealth.com.
Information within this video, audio, or text, collectively known as the podcast, has not been reviewed by the FDA. Nothing within the podcast is intended as or should be construed as medical advice. Information is for general informational and educational purposes only. Consumers of the podcast should consult with their healthcare practitioners for medical recommendations. Seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider. Do not disregard the advice of a healthcare provider based on any information from the podcast. The information within the podcast may contain information concerning dietary supplements or over-the-counter products that are not drugs. Our dietary supplement products are not intended for use as a means to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, or mitigate any disease or other medical or abnormal condition.